against FlyQuest yesterday, who dominated Cloud9 today and is looking to be our best team. So it was an impressive loss, if you will. I also think that River's still looking really strong for the team. And we heard in that interview that Mark just had them talking about the fact that really, if TL feels if Golden Guardians were to win, it has to be through mid jungle. So that does put a little bit of pressure on Haeri and Pyosik to be able to perform and shut down their counterparts over on the other side.
And there's a ton of pressure on Haeri and Yeon as well, as those stepping in from the younger side of experience within the pro scene. So when you're looking at a mid laner like that, who has been formidable and showing up in these games, and seeing how he and Pyosik can develop over time. As we get through the early stages of the draft, Team Liquid electing to lock in the Sejuani and answer with the Varus and the Caitlyn on the opposite side.
So Varus, Caitlyn coming through, expecting it to be probably Varus support, but we have seen a bit of each actually. Was watching some LPL earlier today, saw Varus support played there, has been played in a few different places, but we have also seen Caitlyn support pretty rarely, but we have seen it. Xayah coming through, though, is actually pretty interesting. Haven't really seen this in the LCS just yet, but Xayah is one of those champions that I think with the 13.1B changes to Infinity Edge, I do think benefited quite a lot. It is one of those champions that really wants to get to that crit benchmark. You can get that on 2 items very early. It's not going to be Xayah or Khan, though. Xayah Blitz. And I actually love this from Core, because you're going up against Caitlyn Varus bot lane. It actually doesn't matter who you hit. If you just walk at either of these champions, they have got to retreat, and just the amount of pressure that is going to be put on with this Blitzcrank, and especially if you call down Pyosik on the Sejuani, is going to be terrifying.
Anytime you see Varus starting to wind up that Q, that Blitzcrank is going to be right there at the ready, attempting to grab through. So definitely something that they will have to be wary of when it comes to that lockdown potential that Team Liquid are bringing. And then also for the Xayah, when you're thinking about that CC that is offered by the opposing bot lane, when you have something like Featherstorm for that increased escapability. So a lot of utensils available for Team Liquid in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only the 3rd pick of Blitz this split globally that I'm actually seeing here on Games of Legends. So it looks like barely been played at all. Xayah as well, only having a handful of picks there. So is going to be something that we're seeing more of, I think, on this patch. But the Blitzcrank, definitely something that Core is really comfortable on. He loves playing a lot of these engaged champions, though that hasn't been the meta really. Right now, it's so much about the enchanters, about these AD carries playing support. So Blitzcrank going to be really interesting. And I think you made a great point talking about the Varus self-slow on the Q. When you're charging up that Q, you are slowing yourself down. Makes it really easy to line up things like a Blitzcrank hook, or in certain matchups we've already seen earlier, we heard supports talk about hitting Ash arrows on Varus while they're charging that Q is also really, really easy.
And you're thinking about the fact that Golden Guardians have to be considering that somewhat when they're locking it in. A lot of pressure on Stixxay to be very particular in when he decides to execute on some of these abilities. The bans here locking out. It's Jax and K'Sante on the latter end, so offering a different solo lane matchup in the future.
Yeah, 4 top lane bans here in the second phase across the board. Renekton, K'Sante, Fiora, and Jax all taken away. We still have some really common champions like the Gnar still available. Renekton obviously taken away, but Gnar is the most picked out of the champions that are still kind of remaining. It is interesting seeing the Gragas come through. So it should be Gragas top. I'm expecting for Licorice, Wukong in the jungle. They could, if they really wanted, change that around. That could be a potential flex, but I haven't seen much, if any, Wukong top lately. And from what I'm seeing here, there hasn't been a single one picked in pro thus far. So definitely expecting to be Gragas top, even though that is pretty uncommon as well.
So with that considered, the Gragas, the way these bot lanes are shaking out, a bit of a switch up in the ADC position, how much of this defying your expectations of what you were expecting to see in draft from these teams, or is it kind of along the lines of trying to experiment?
I mean, I think that the bans are kind of forcing things to pivot somewhat because there's been so many top lane bans. But I will say I'm pretty surprised by the Blitz. I'm pretty surprised by the Xayah. The Varus support, I think, is maybe slightly surprising, but we have been seeing that more so than these other picks. Gragas top, Xayah, those are only 10 picks that I'm seeing, assuming this data is right. And it's going to be an Aatrox top to answer here from Summit. So definitely something he's very comfortable on. And excited to see how that matchup goes, because I think Licorice, hasn't really been performing to expectations. They do have this new roster for Golden Guardians. I think the expectations are high for Licorice and Stixxay to step up. I got to talk to some of the Golden Guardian staff, prior to the split, and that was one of the things that they were really talking about, is the fact that Stixxay and Licorice, they felt didn't have the pieces in the past around them to really enable them to succeed, and now they feel that they do. Now they feel that they do have that strong surrounding cast, and they're expecting them to be able to step up. So we'll see if they can do that, but it is going to be last pick LeBlanc for Gory. Excited to see if he can actually exploit this matchup here against Haeri, because he had 5th pick counter pick on red side. It was a blind Sylas here, and you are going to want to see Gory really kind of push the pace in this type of matchup. And Wukong is a champion that can gank through those side brushes, with the clone coming through that side brush, as long as they can control vision. Maybe put some pressure here onto Haeri on the Sylas.
Corey debuting on the Azir yesterday and coming through with the LeBlanc. If we're looking in totality at these drafts, up TL going for a different strat, but we're getting into game number 4 of the day, second to last of the weekend. Team Liquid looking to get the 2-0 for the week to offset week 1's results, whereas Golden Guardians want to get that first dub on the board.
Yeah, trying to get that first win. Definitely not the start that they had wanted. Some of the other teams, that were expected to be more around them in standings, already picking up a couple wins. We have seen some upsets from teams like TSM that have put them ahead in the standings, of course, above Golden Guardians. But I'm just really excited to see how Core does on the Blitz, because I think there's going to be so much action around this. Yeon and Core, even in the games that they have lost, have performed really well in the 2v2s. So expecting them to put on a lot of pressure. And Huhi is actually playing Barrier. They're playing double Hail of Blades down on the bot side. So that is hyper-focused towards that laning phase, really trying to make sure that they can have that pressure. The difficulty becomes when Blitz walks forward, you basically can't both just run. You have to be able to actually return damage and put some sort of a threat onto him as he's moving forward. And that's going to require them to be able to sidestep hooks and kind of, really fight aggressively at level 1, I think, especially.
So even with that threat of that hook, you have to think about the fact that's a melee going into these double range that you have. So if you're giving up opportunities to poke them down and punish him for stepping up and really whittling down that HP, then it can be very dangerous for you when you throw that power over towards him. But CoreJJ getting a hook right now, right off the bat onto Huhi, but it's early enough and over in the bush side, so just intended for some poke.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that hook down. And Huhi's playing Barrier, and he's just going to use the Barrier level 1 here on the Caitlyn support. Use that out, absorbs a lot. He did hit the Piltover Peacemaker, the previous one, onto Yeon. So trying to get that damage down, trying to make sure they're using their double Hail of Blades here. Every time that is off cooldown, you want to be stepping forward, getting those positive trades here to really keep pressure on Core. Because if Blitz can be chunked out, if he can really not have the ability to look for all-ins, then this champion is useless. But if he's able to keep that threat onto them, it's going to be really, really difficult for Stixxay and Huhi to farm effectively.
And a lot of mindfulness in positioning for Stixxay and Huhi, not just because of the hook, but you've got feathers you have to worry about. You've got Pyosik right now just hovering around, but trying to find another angle. Yeah,
trying to actually go for a wraparound here. He may come fully wrap around and look for a blast cone over, but he's going to be spotted now. Will they actually look for it? They don't have 2 yet. So they can't actually go for this. Now they have 2, so they could potentially look, but they know they've been spotted. And Wukong is clearing down towards bot. So, River started top. Just went 3 camps top, straight down towards bot. There's no way they can pull off a dive, but he wanted to at least make sure that they are safe from Pyosik, who should have been spotted again walking over that ward, and now looking to pressure over around mid.
Licorice and Summit hanging out over in the top lane. But yes, I think in that moment too, early on, you see that wave pushing in. So a lot of caution from these junglers. River trying to answer, but over in mid lane, Gory is the subject of the assault right now. Does get the lockdown onto Haeri. Pyosik dropping some pursuit here, but really just making that movement off the map considering where he was previously.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be going up back towards top side, trying to continue that clear here. Pyosik putting on a decent bit of pressure, I would say, though he was tracked well by the warding here from Golden Guardians. And that drive-by gank on mid is often just to relieve a little bit of pressure, try to make sure that Haeri can actually push out this wave, because Gory is playing pretty aggressively in his face. There's no additional pots remaining there on Haeri, and he is relatively low on mana with that Doran Shield start. It is more defensive, but instead of going for something like a Doran's Ring, you're really going to lack that mana regen. So we'll see what his first reset's going to be. Looks like he's just going to kind of have to take the L on the wave that's still pushing away from him and TP back.
By himself that time, and see what he can do when he returns, what direction, as you're saying, Azael, he goes in terms of build, and here comes the TP.
And now Gory, did elect as soon as Haeri backed off, to actually shove in this wave. And so he can actually go back to base now. And if he wants, he can even hold on to his summoners, just try to continue moving around the map. Like, he has a window here where he could actually look towards top. He could look towards bot if he wanted to, try to join up with his jungle. But probably just going to head straight back out towards mid. He is playing Ignite, of course, so needs to have that lane pressure to make sure he's not falling behind when his opponent is going to commit the TP.
Enable himself to play that aggressively and get the farm over on top side. Summit has been using his harass upon Licorice to push up the waves in his favor and start acquiring that 30 CS to 19. And down bought a slight advantage for Stixxay, who we were talking about which way the Varus was going to go, actually, and who was piloting it. But in this case, it's Stixxay on the Varus and then Caitlyn for Huhi.
Yep, we did see Haeri play this. I think he was the first person to bring out the Caitlyn support. And a lot of people have been trying out some of these different things. We got to see Sven playing Kalista support. That actually worked really, really well for him. CoreJJ, interestingly enough, is another one of those role swapped ADCs. A lot of people actually forget that he was an AD carry for Dignitas actually, way back in the day, before he went back to Korea, went to support, won a world championship, then came back here. So we actually have a few different role swap supports. Busio came from mid, Core came from AD, Sven came from AD. So some of these supports, having experience on these different types of picks can be really nice. As Core is a little bit of a swing and a miss there. Gory comfortable on that side step.
Pressuring over on mid here while Stixxay is given some time to farm. I feel like a lot of times in that role swap, those that switch to support, it's probably one of the strongest when you think historically. ADCs that switch that way, so you have that laning knowledge work through. We're getting a little more contact though. Pyosik going in on River. Some response, but you've got the clone here to be able to escape.
Yeah, and Gory answering the roam from Haeri. Haeri's got to be careful because River and Huhi are closer than his team. He's got to flash out or he's dead.
Collapsed upon and killed River. First blood going with the early play for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, really poor pathing from Haeri. He wanted to come and support his team, but his team had already retreated out down towards bot, and that left Huhi and River on one side, Gory on the other, who had already matched that roam. And Haeri tried to continue to walk down towards bot instead of trying to fight his way back through Gory or flashing over the wall early or something. And just kind of, I think, losing track of where his teammates were and where it was safe to walk. He gets punished pretty heavily here.
Seemed almost as if there was a thought process of, oh, a lot of congestion and the fighting is going to be happening over towards bot, but there wasn't really any movement there that allowed him to follow up. Instead gets caught out, and off of that, Golden Guardians also warding up the entire riverside. Dragon is still up for grabs, so getting that vision at this point at the line of scrimmage is always going to be an advantage and something that they're able to acquire off of that first blood.
Yeah, absolutely. Maintaining that line of vision down from mid lane, is going to be really important to actually keep that bot lane safe, right? Because you have to be pushing when you're playing Caitlyn and Varus here. This double ranged bot lane wants to keep the push going. Licorice is really hurting for mana though. Yes, he has a tier, but look where he is, and he's got no TP back. So even if he just gets chunked out, he's in trouble.
Yeah, getting frozen in place and stunned, and more blows his flash in the final moments.
Oh, yeah, definitely not what you're wanting to see here on the side from Golden Guardians. Look at the wave too. The wave is absolutely horrible for him. Because he already spent his TP, Summit could push it if he wants, but if he doesn't, it's going to be a 1 to 2 waves denied. Looks like he is just trimming that up at least a little bit here. But this full wave will be denied. We'll see if he holds on to the range minions to try to keep that freeze, and he is for now. So it's going to be a lot lost. The flash down, the TP was already gone. Golden Guardians are going to be way behind on the top side off of that.
And multiple control wards over on that top side too to ensure that Summit can still continue on his pursuit safely. And a lot of people are looking at Summit in the way that he plays because he's one of those players that dictates a specific strategy from a lot of the teams. They say, okay, we're going to attack top. We're going to try and deny him as much as possible. So you're seeing how he can flesh himself out on this team. It's most of Golden Guardians around this Herald though, trying to draw some attention towards themselves. Pyosik lying in wait. Blast cones into the bush, but there is a ward here, currently getting swept out.
Yeah, there is potential for a 4v4 if Haeri moves as well. Both ADs are staying bot, and Haeri is cheating up towards topside, but Pyosik's going to engage as 3v4.
CoreJJ on the outskirts gets hooked onto Licorice, and some of them are fallen. We've lost Licorice immediately off the bat. Pretty low for Gory as well, so Team Liquid pushing them off. River separated from the pack, and this is a Rift Herald over to Team Liquid.
Yeah, they had one less member when that fight started, but it just didn't even matter. Nice chain, though, from Gory.
Ooh, the Feather Storm in a response to try to go for the invulnerability, uses the heal as well, but it's not enough. CoreJJ and Haeri consider rotating over, but they don't make it in time.
Yeah, they do get that kill back in mid lane here. They take down Yeon, get his ult, get his heal. That is big because Stixxay has been pushing down on this bottom side. So, you know, at least one plate taken. I'm not sure if that previous plate had already been knocked down, but Golden Guardians getting about as good as they took there, you know, in that exchange, everything considered. But would love to see that fight one more time because, you know, it was Haeri who was kind of that late man to the play, you know, did join as that fourth member for TL. But Golden Guardians had the extra member there to start, and Pyosik was just confident to engage it. You know, you look on the mini-map, and look where Haeri is. Haeri's still over here as he's actually going in, so he's quite far away, but the engage comes in immediately. Summit and Pyosik very, very strong here. You know, Summit just coming forward, helping to finish them off. Haeri does arrive, and they got such a good chunk off that initial engage with, you know, multi-man ultimate there hit by Summit, you know, getting in, hitting multiple people with those Qs. The ulti as well from Sejuani, you know, locking him up. Just doing a really, really good job in the initial part of that fight to be able to chunk them out and win that fight.
The objective play working in the favor of Team Liquid there, even though a kill was thrown to the other way. I'm wondering, it makes me kind of want to tune into how the communication is going as well when you're looking at these slightly late rotations from Haeri, slightly delayed from the rest of the team's movements. And you imagine those are things that will shore up, maybe not even just through this game, but throughout the season. Yeah,
it's possible. You know, it's one of those things also where maybe he was worried that they were going to try to like pincer him if he came over a little bit earlier or something. I'm not really sure. Or maybe they just felt it was fine for him to push mid then come, but definitely could have gone the other way had Golden Guardians been able to handle it a little bit better. But that being said, Licorice now massively behind on that top side, and Pyosik is going to get right back up there. Nice sidestep, though.
Immediately collapsing upon Licorice. It feels like Licorice is not having a good time as of late. A good long downtown hook onto Huhi. Has to use both summoners. Throws down damage onto Yeon. Goes for the ace in the hole, but CoreJJ is there to block it.
Yeah, and Stixxay not able to connect with his ulti. Nice engage, though, from Haeri.
Trying to grab onto Gory. Doesn't get the chains to connect just yet, and both popping some pots as well. Rift Herald getting dropped over on the top side too, so action across the map as Golden Guardians make that cross-map play to take the objective for themselves here and get the first dragon.
Yeah, gonna be able to get that first dragon for themselves, but it's gonna be tough for Licorice to have much effect in this game whatsoever. He's now down 2K individually here, and it is so early on in this game. There's just nothing he's gonna be able to do against Summit in this 1v1. He's down 2 levels as well. It is really, really brutal. And now an additional 800 there. He's basically has double the gold of his opponent. And Summit is just such a dangerous laner. And you know, his greatest strength is kind of also his weakness, where he plays so aggressively. He plays past the wave. He really exploits these 1v1s, which requires you to play hyper aggressive. But that's also at times why he gets picked on heavily by junglers, because they know he's going to be positioning aggressively. They know he's going to be looking for the maximum advantages. He's not playing to just trade waves. So he can fall prey to a lot of these ganks. But when things are going well and when he gets the support of his team, he can open up leads unlike any other top laner in the league. And that's why he won MVP when he was here last time around with Cloud9.
And it does feel, Azael, like we saw more attention from Pyosik over towards that side than we saw from River. Up, flash forward from Gory going for the ultimate from CoreJJ to kill him off. LeBlanc down.
Yeah, if he got the chain pop, he might have been able to kill Haeri. Would have been close at the very least, but trying to make something happen, going for the aggressive move here, and Core is there. You know, lands the full combo, knocks him down. Licorice again back up towards this top side, but he knows he can't even get near Summon. Pyosik is coming, uh-oh.
Yeah, Sejuani's here again, goes for the prison. Licorice always has to use flash, it feels like every time it's back up. Can he joke it? Can he not? Summit gets the kill credit. But it's been a lot of Pyosik action here, top to make sure that advantage.
Stop, he's already dead. Licorice is taking a beating in this one. That is just brutal. He's gonna lose the wave as well.
This is why I think sometimes top laners have some of the best mental, sometimes some of the worst mental, but some of the best too, because in this situation,
it's one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing you can do in the 1v1 for quite a while now, right? So basically you're just trying to get XP and hopefully clear waves and not die, but like when it's this extreme, you can just get solo dove practically. There's really not much he can do. He was playing over the wall to just try to soak XP and steal away some minions, but there's no way they're going to play towards top side, right? Like, it's fully just abandoned ship. They got no vision up there. They got nothing.
Oh, the 1v1 coming through, a little bit of a route. River was on the outskirts as well as Pyosik. If they decide to bring something through Summit, because they took down that first turret over on the top side, you unlock what has been growing into one of the largest threats on the team.
Yep. Summit's going to just use that pressure, move down towards mid. If he's not comfortable pushing the tier 2 and looking for a dive or getting chip damage on that tower, then you just move down. You're not going to miss any minions up towards top, or at least, so he's just going to rotate back up, catch that wave. And now Licorice will move down here towards mid lane, see if there's any opportunity for him to do anything, because he can't walk up and actually continue farming that wave unless it's at his tier 2, or he knows where Summit is, because there's no shot he can stay alive. And that's why he's kind of just hovering Gory here to try to answer a play from TL, and they are going to look.
In for it. When jungler meets jungler over in the brush side, everyone else becomes a little more static and reverts to their opposite sides. But speaking of what happened in the top lane, you could really see the impact of it, considering that around 11 minutes, Golden Guardians had a few hundred gold in their favor. Then you saw the Rift Herald go down. You saw those kills. That was all before 14 minutes. And now Team Liquid up 2.2K as a squad, and you know where a lot of that's coming from.
There's the one top laner. Here's the other top laner, right? Like, oh my God. That is pretty rough.
That's, now I understand why Licorice reads a lot. You see him meditating when he comes onto the stage.
You need to calm down after a game like this, for sure.
It's a true testament to his character, and because of that, Team Liquid, they continue just pushing those advantages over on that top side. They've had plenty of time to burn before the 40 seconds for this next Drake. It was still early enough in the game where Golden Guardians, we'll have to see. Do you think they just continue trying to find advantages elsewhere? Are you just abandoning top and seeing what you can do?
I think that's all you can do. I think any sort of play up towards top lane is almost doomed unless you're sending like your whole team. But this is the problem. They have no vision, right? You look at the top side, it's like there's not a single ward from Golden Guardians up there. There's nothing that they can do to actually look for that sort of a play. So if you go up there and you try to gank him as River, you probably get 2v1. So you have to almost bring a third person, and then if Pyosik's there, you probably lose the 3v2. So it's really hard for them to really get much done. They're going to be hoping to find picks, hoping to find plays on the other side of the map, but like I said, I feel like if you fall behind with this sort of a composition, there's not really that much to come back into it. You have an AP Gragas who's thousands and thousands of gold behind. Who's supposed to actually check rushes and get vision for you? Wukong can kind of do it by cloning backwards. Huhi definitely can't do it. He'll just get engaged on and die. So it's very, very difficult. Golden Guardians want to keep the dragons stacking because that's their only edge, but is this even safe to go for?
Team Liquid are so aware of how ahead they are in this game right now that starting it up, they're immediately on the objective, bringing it down to 50, and Golden Guardians say, we can't get that, so let's see if we can find Haeri. Flashes over the wall and gets rid of it. Summit is here to respond, but River is going for the dive. Blue team for Team Liquid, they get the dragon, but the fight is still going. River in the center of them all gets knocked up. An ultimate coming from CoreJJ for the additional blast down. Summit still strong with World Ender intact. Stun onto one, and Stixxay is down. 2 eliminated for Golden Guardians. The CC's just too good. Yeon going for the Feather Storm. Everyone in Golden Guardians backs up behind it, but it's not enough. Team Liquid set up Yeon for the double kill, and he's going for the wave to get this push.
Yeah, TL get another kill here on top. They get the dragon. They're likely going to be able to take this tower as well. Nice distortion to dodge the hook there. Yeon stepping forward very aggressively, but yeah, I mean, Haeri just kind of in a weird spot, I've got to say. He was kind of just positioned very far away from the team. Summit was down there, but he gets sectioned off, and it is that pretty easy kill for Golden Guardians. So a good job to actually spot him out. Haeri was trying to come through that bottom brush, but that Golden Guardians is in that area, so a little bit disrespectful from him. He gets ulted up. He steals the ult to try to peel for himself, but he is burst down. And then Summit just feeling himself getting very, very aggressive. But we have to remember, there's not that lifesteal, that Omni Vamp on Eclipse anymore, with the fighter update. So despite the fact that he gets in, he's not healing nearly as much as we're kind of used to with the old Eclipse builds, or even like, if he's playing a Gorjinker or something, he's in the middle of the team, but he can't just life drain tank them. He is a lot squishier than he would have been on a previous patch as a result, but it does buy the space for Yeon. Yeon picks up a double kill there, and is going to be working towards probably a Navori Quickblade second, it looked like, which is going to be a really big spike for the Xayah.
Item changes are always so interesting in the game because it feels like it takes a little bit of time before players either adjust their build or get a new feel for it. You're seeing Xayah coming in, right? We have seen a lot of the same ADCs as prior, but then now starting to get a little of that filtering. Pyosik, though, finds 2 members of Golden Guardians. You've got the power of Summit, though, so even if he's not healing up as much, he is still having such an impact on the game.
Yeah, and you have the additional CDR. You have a ton of damage still. The shield proc is a lower cooldown, so there are obviously some trade-offs there. But you're definitely squishier. It's harder to just be straight up drain tank, and that's one of the reasons that at least I have been seeing less Aatrox on this patch because Omnivamp got taken off, and even on some of the other items, it got changed from Omnivamp to just lifesteal. So Stixxay trying to kite back. Oh, nice side steps.
Oh, he's making it so far and throwing down that CC, hoping that Huhi can follow up. Does manage to do so with the Q, but Haeri goes in. A slash onto Stixxay. River cycling around, trying to spin his way through this one, but it's a double kill for the support in Huhi, and Summit retreats. Pyosik also looking to do the same, but the ace in the hole is going for the damage. Stuns on the way out, but Licorice has got one more to toss, but there you have it. Sejuani manages to survive.
Damn, Stixxay actually popping off there. Multiple sidesteps, sidestepping the Sejuani ult, sidestepping the hook, sidestepping everything, and then they get pulled back into that tower. They start taking that turret aggro. Huhi shows up, who's quietly having a great game on the Caitlyn. Has 4 kills now. And in that previous big fight, he was actually top damage. They're TPing. This is like a solo TP. What is Summit doing? That's an int.
Summit!
That's a huge int.
Where'd you go, bro?
Oh, look at the map. This team is not even close. That's like a 1v5 TP from Summit. That is straight reportable. I don't know what he was doing.
Huh. This is why, as Pyosik looks to close it, but there's so much mobility, actually uses the ultimate to try and get one kill onto Gory. But I'm still just taken aback, though. I feel like we build up towards talking about one version of Summit in this game, and
We
we're
get
like,
both.
We get it all.
Yeah, hey, get it all. I guess, both. He's going to give and he's going to take. But this is beautiful from Stixxay. Look at the sidesteps left there. And then he pretends he's walking right into that corridor and then backsteps again because they're waiting. Once you go against that turret into that little left corridor, there's nowhere to dodge. So Stixxay knows that they're going to fire their skill shots right into that corridor. He backsteps on both those skill shots. Yes, he does get taken down by Haeri, but Haeri dies to do it. That's another couple kills going over to Huhi, who, as I said, was already having a really good game. And then this is just kind of a weird series of events. Pyosik is able to get away. But then I'm just really kind of confused on what Summit was even thinking or what the comms were on that TP back in, because his team was all coming out of base or currently basing. He saw all of Golden Guardians there and just TP'd in for a solo play. Maybe he thinks he's a lot stronger than he is, or maybe he just misunderstood what the team was doing. I'm not really sure.
It's one of those things, I feel like I can try and conjure all the potential reasons and we'll still have the wrong one without talking to him, because it was a very interesting choice. And in terms of the plays over the past couple minutes, 3K gold slowly whittling down to 2. Team Liquid had shown a lot of power on the side lanes, pushing those out to get those turrets, and now Golden Guardians over in the mid lane, now that they're able to group together and get that lockdown, they've been able to make more leeway.
Yeah, and Huhi has been kind of getting ignored in a lot of these fights. He actually has 2 full items now as the support Caitlyn. He's already got a Dust Blade, so it is not like necessarily the highest DPS build, but it is a very high burst damage build. These lethality Caitlyn's, if you do get caught in a trap, if you do get hit by those peacemakers, its high lethality is really a lot of burst on some of these squishy characters if they do get tagged by that. And there's no armor on Summit, there's no armor on Yeon, so those characters in particular, if they're getting tagged, are going to be feeling it big time.
So if you're looking for the perspective of Golden Guardians, then the fact that Huhi's got a couple items and all of that and beyond Azael, how do you think they continue to push this momentum that seems like they're starting to build? Yeah,
they're building up a little bit of momentum. I think they still have to be really, really careful, because if TL gets one good engage, I think these people are just going to instantly die, right? Like, support Caitlyn is so squishy, but they're going to look for a pick on Haeri in the side lane.
Was looking for Gory, but there's a river in the jungle, and the punishment is good onto Haeri. So Golden Guardians still standing strong with all members. They're making the call to try and assist some of the push over towards mid.
Yeah, it's a great pick in the side lane, but Haeri has just been playing kind of disrespectful with a lot of his positioning, right? Doesn't particularly have a lot of vision over in that area, had no one behind him. He's pushing up past the river with his team all in that top quadrant of the map, and does get picked off pretty easily there by Gory and River, who have been a good duo, in the 2 games that we have seen them thus far. Golden Guardians, they have that man advantage. They're going to look to try to invade, and they will be able to steal away that red buff. Won't push for anything more. Playing with respect to the fact they don't see core. They know that Yeon could move, so didn't want to overstay their welcome there.
And for a while, Golden Guardians were just having a difficult time moving throughout the map because of the ample controls and more over on that top side from Team Liquid. They had no vision themselves, and now they've finally been able to move their own vision line forward, get to move as units as well to increase their chances of surviving a hidden CoreJJ or something and the like. And when you're handed something like Haeri to go and give you a kill, it definitely opens up that movement a bit more.
Absolutely does, and there's just so little armor on this team that double lethality marksman from the bot lane actually is going to be potentially threatening. It is double AP soul lanes, but there's still a lot of physical damage on Golden Guardians, and you look at Yeon, obviously he's not going to be building any armor. That's not a big surprise, but it's Mercs and a Banshees from Haeri, so he's going to be pretty squishy to that. The only resistance purchased up by Summit is that one null magic mantle, so your double lethality marksman, if they can actually stay safe, not be getting hooked in, not be getting ulted by Pyosik, they have the potential to carry these fights. Like, they will be putting out a lot of damage. So it's just going to be up to their positioning and up to their play to see if they can actually make something like that happen.
Both teams have been fighting for vision around this Baron. Summit and Licorice, both on the bottom side, but have Unleashed Teleport available. Remember, Haeri brought that teleport, but Gory was going for that kill pressure, and Ignite will be up soon.
Yep, and they did see that flash forced off of Huhi, so Pyosik throwing the ult out, forces that flash, and TL are doing a really good job playing around vision. They're just trying to choke them out, and they're forcing these squishy members. As I was talking about earlier, there's not really anyone who's well suited to actually clearing out vision, to checking brushes. So TL is just trying to keep that whole top side of the map dark, right? It's this line right here in the river. There's some pretty good defensive vision from Golden Guardians, but as you can see, there's nothing else beyond this. So TL was just trying to create these pockets of darkness, draw members from Golden Guardians in to try to get wards, and then look for those hooks, look for those ultimates from Sejuani, and at the very least, they got that flash off Huhi, so if he gets found again, he's definitely going to go down.
If you got a bit more of a beefy support or engage, as CoreJJ has, and you're moving through the jungle, you can afford a couple slap on the wrist autos, but when you're Huhi on Caitlyn, it's a bit more testy for you to try and go through.
Yeah.
You don't really have that leeway. Oh, just out of line, but the continued follow-up is good. Stixxay flashing away, tries to throw out his ultimate for some lockdown, but it doesn't quite connect. Both summoners unavailable for the bot laner.
Yeah, he's going to be able to stay alive. Nice 90 caliber net there from Huhi. Quick reaction time to get away from the flash hook from Core. But then Stixxay, he just gets caught by that ultimate anyway, and unfortunately for him, couldn't actually hit his ult on the way out to trade anything back. Trying to get some damage down on Pyosik, but Gory needs to be careful as Core comes in, swinging a miss on the hook, and he's playing with fire. That's going to be 4 stacks almost. It does expire.
Every time you see Sejuani line up, you got Gory ready to try and dash away here, and so far it's been good, but it can be dicey. It's been a long, aggressive fight over the vision in this jungle side, so you're just waiting for one of these bits of CC to connect. All the while, though, a little bit of weight going towards top. Haeri has been trying to push that so they can attempt to get a tier 2.
Yeah, and TL now just pushing in, clearing out all this vision that they can. Pyosik is getting hit a lot, but it doesn't really matter. He's not really taking any damage from this, and Licorice is just getting shoved back. They take down that tier 2. They've now cleared out a ton of the vision here, walking in with a lot of sweepers, a lot of pinks. River's got to get out of there as well.
Gory over the wall, knock up onto 2 from River, tries to go for the back line and a route onto Summit, but he's got his World Ender on lock. River about to die. River does die. It's a 1-for-1 trade with the junglers down. And without that, everyone should be able to back off. That's a lot of damage that Gory was taking on that poke.
Yeah, Gory, getting chunked down to about 30% HP there. His clone got even lower. He's going to have to back it up. The dragon is here, but there's no ulti on Summit. Do Golden Guardians feel like they can actually try to take this? Pretty much everyone is missing their ultis on both sides. Yeon does have double summoners, and he is the healthiest member, so I think TL are advantaged if this gets started up. Haeri also did base and has TP, so I think they're sitting in a much better spot. He's going to TP out towards bot, should be able to move in here and try to get back with the team. River's still going to be dead for a couple more seconds, so is Pyosik, but TL should be the ones controlling this area, and it should be their dragon.
And the only flashes up are on Licorice and Yeon, which feels good when your bot laner has that additional level of protection for Team Liquid. It was that first dragon that was taken by Golden Guardians, but Team Liquid has been stacking them after that. Gory subject again, Haeri, throwing back a little bit of that medicine he has been receiving in the earlier portions of this game.
Yeah, nicely done. Just tracking the fact that Gory used his W, used his ult, used them both for wave clear, and when you don't have that distortion, there's no way out there, so Haeri just comes over the wall, steals that LeBlanc ulti, is able to go right in and actually burst him down, and now TL feeling even more confident to move in, take over vision once again here in this topside jungle, and at the same time, Haeri is pushing, so someone will have to answer him. And when they show there, mid lane's pushing as well, so TL really taking over the map in these last couple minutes here, extending their lead pretty massively.
Taking down their 6th turret of the game. Really pushing effectively across, and Golden Guardians, when you're already so worried about individuals getting caught out, for instance, the very immobile Stixxay on the Varus, and Huhi also being very squishy, it's difficult when you have to spread across the lanes and send 1 or 2 to try and answer somebody that's got sustain and pushing down.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be very, very difficult, especially when your top laner just kind of got put so far behind so early. He's like a little bit more relevant in the game now, I will say. He's still down about half an item, but Licorice, is much more comparable to Summit and actually has more XP now. So he does have a level advantage. As Summit, wasn't able to really kind of continue pushing forward with that lead. Started grouping a lot, had that silly TP, which put him behind as well. So, Golden Guardians are still in with a chance, but it is definitely getting very, very difficult. Yeon is already on 3 items. He did go for the BT third. He went for the Navori Quick Blade, so playing more for that kind of CDR instead of the straight up auto attack damage. And because it's such a squishy team, I think this is actually a more intelligent build, so I do really like it. And Gory has been so aggressive on the LeBlanc, moving forward all the time, looking to poke away. And Bloodthirster basically negates all of that, right? Like, you have to 100-0 this guy, or he's going to heal the full off one wave.
Going for it. River, it's just the clone ahead. But I do like the way that Gory, not just on the LeBlanc today, but on Azir yesterday, was playing pretty aggressively. And I think that's a trend that can do well for Golden Guardians in the future. Looking at this game, one thing you had called out after the draft was Golden Guardians had these picks that needed to be able to handle themselves in lane, but it does feel like Team Liquid were the ones with the earlier portion, and now it's Golden Guardians trying to scrap back. It's just so difficult to get that map control.
It is really, really tough, right? It's just tough for them to walk in. They kind of need eyes on where TL are before they can actually start fighting. They do spot Pyosik, so Licorice trying to push him out, but it is phase rush Sejuani, so he can easily walk out of there. And we're just kind of stuck in this window where they're going to go for the gates now.
River's trying to find the opening, but Summit, he's winding up for it. Isn't the whole way downtown. It was Yeon that was eliminated right off of the top and looking for the continuation onto Haeri. River down low. The CoreJJ backing up as well. Can they finish him off? Pyosik still nice and healthy, trying to go for Huhi. Attempting lockdown here, but Huhi so low too. There you go into stasis for Pyosik, but he's rejoined the rest of the team. Manages to avoid the Varus. Oh, man. Couple kills down the road.
Oh, Haeri's TPing back in. What is he? He's trying to hunt for someone. Maybe they're just going to try to start up the Baron, but they don't have any damage. There's no way they can do this. So I think he was hoping he could find someone trying to retreat out towards the top side, as there was a lot of low health bars there. At the end of the day, it is just that 1-for-1, but that was a 1K shutdown, I think, actually on Yeon. It looked like he got the 1K off of that, on River for that kill. So a massive gold injection onto River. Really close fight back and forth here. You saw, it was looking pretty good for TL because Pyosik is coming from behind. When you have these members coming from multiple sides, it can be quite threatening, but Haeri a little bit far up here. When the engage comes in, he gets caught a little bit with Yeon. The flash back there from Yeon, but River is able to get that kill. 1K going over to River, sidesteps out of that Q3 from the Aatrox, and then trying to escape out the back, but Pyosik coming in, finishing him off with Summit. We're right back to live, and Yeon's able to flash out of there this time, or Gale Force, excuse me.
Oh yeah, here we go again. River on the outskirts, teleport coming in. Summit thrown on back with the Gragas ultimate, so the disengage for Golden Guardians to keep themselves up. But Team Liquid, they want to keep pushing this forward.
Yeah, TL going to be continuing to push. That's flash off Haeri, so that's the flash I heard. It was Gale Force, I believe, from Yeon to actually escape from that, so the two rookies getting caught out a little bit there in mid, but now TL with that side brush control, and they're looking to pincer from multiple sides here.
They keep wanting to find those ambush opportunities. Summit collapsing upon River, but he has the retreat, a flash away from Licorice, and Haeri has him in his sights. Caitlyn damage coming from downtown, and all of Team Liquid keep their eyes on Licorice before eliminating him off the map. It's another single kill for them here, but separated enough from the rest of the team, and Team Liquid looks always ready to re-collapse upon them with the positioning that Pyosik has been setting up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pyosik is playing Warmogs, which again, I think is super smart because it's so heavily poke-based. It's double lethality marksman in the bot lane. It's LeBlanc, who is really functioning more as a poke mage at this point in time. So you have Bloodthirster now on Yeon, so if he doesn't get under zero, he's healing right back to full off. 1 minion wave, 1 jungle camp. You have the Warmogs as well on Pyosik, who's just constantly healing right back up with that. But River maybe catching a lazy recall on Haeri.
Tries to respond with the answer. Haeri, he's got too much on him. Caitlyn looking to finish it up, but River gets the kill credit. Pyosik wants to throw it downtown. Gory ends up falling. Yeon with the credit on this one. All the while, a turret has fallen, but the root here onto CoreJJ. Summit over the wall, slashes onto Huhi. He's looking for the squishiest member in Caitlyn and gets that prize that he was looking to end with that world. Team Liquid out on top with the fight. 3 kill. They trade their mid laner, but they go for the objective.
Yeah, he's gonna get that big kill to shut down off of Huhi. The barrier did nothing, killed him through it on the Q3, and now Golden Guardians know they're on the Baron. This is a long shot, but I think you have to try. They're already so far behind. If you give the Baron over as well, there's no shot in this game, so they look for that steal.
Whoa.
Not gonna find it, though.
CoreJJ was laying in wait to hook Licorice as soon as he stepped up, and while a little bit of survivability for this top laner for Golden Guardians, going golden ain't gonna do it even if you got golden in your name. Team Liquid really getting the job done here.
Yeah, really nicely done from TL. They finally create that advantage that they need to close this one out. Golden Guardians did a commendable job, hanging on for a really long time here despite getting put down so far on the top side of the map early. But it's hard to see what they can get done now. TL just has so many ways to win out in these fights. If they can get onto these squishy members, if they can get flanks coming out, it's very, very difficult for Varus and Caitlyn to put out effective damage. They can't win in sort of like 1v1 scrappy situations where a Pyosik or a Summit is coming from behind them and getting in on top of them. And TL has done a good job of trying to create those windows where they can get these beefy characters into the back line to really punish those squishy marksmen.
And now, Team Liquid, with a bit under 2 minutes left on the Red Bull Baron buff, setting their sights on this Dragon Soul. With all the power they have accumulated thus far, and then some, Golden Guardians feel no window to be able to contest, so the Soul goes to Team Liquid.
Yeah, gonna grab that Cloud Soul. Always feels really nice on Aatrox in particular. Love when you can get that bonus move speed, already getting that from your ultimate as well. So gonna allow you to get on to some of those low mobility marksmen in the backline very, very easily. And Golden Guardians, you just gotta hope for some sort of a pick, but it's very tough to actually find it.
And Team Liquid right now still with the Baron buff. They're just gonna spread some of their pressure across mid lane and bot lane to get onto these inhibitor turrets. Corey put on Summit duty, but yeah, it's tough for Golden Guardians just not finding any opportunities to be able to step past the lines that Team Liquid have created here.
I mean, their wave clear is pretty terrible at this point. It's just they just don't really have anyone that can actually knock down these waves. You can see Gory is struggling with that pressure. They can't actually clear out that bot wave. At the same time, they can't clear out mid wave either, pushing them back to the base. So 2 inhibitors are going to be cracked here. And you look up towards that top lane, and the top lane wave is already coming as well. That's been prepped. So this could be 3 straight inhibs here for TL. I feel like Golden Guardians, you just got to pick your moment, go in for the engage, hope you find something, because if you give up triple inhib, there's definitely no chance at all.
It's a Baron buffet of minions just crashing into this base right now. It feels one of those slow drip drips. You get the stun, you get the hook, you get more. And Team Liquid, oh, they're having a hard time right now with, our Golden Guardians are having a hard time right now offsetting their onslaught, just throwing clones out, throwing anything they can.
Here they go.
Going into the back line as much as they possibly can. River wanting to give his life, but Team Liquid, they just focus themselves onto one. The GA is popped. Summit collecting all of the eyes of the remainder of Golden Guardians. So they split it up, but River is the next to fall after Summit is at the hand of Golden Guardians. But Team Liquid right now, even when you have the one down on both sides, they have a little bit of the wave coming. They have a super coming down in the bot lane too. They go onto Huhi, they blast him down. They keep their eyes on the turrets so that they can get towards this Nexus. Haeri throwing down the gold just as a little bit more of a statement. But Golden Guardians, they do manage to clean up a bit. They've taken down 3 of Team Liquid here. But
they're gonna survive?
Yeah, it's looking like they're able to offset a bit of that pressure from Team Liquid thus far.
Yeah, they get enough kills there, so they are going to hang on, but base is in shambles. TL going to be able to go back, complete up a bunch more items with all the gold that they just earned. And it's only going to get more difficult with all the waves crashing in here. TL just kind of have to escort those waves in, walk up, and just basically make Golden Guardians fight the supers. Because with 3 inhibs down, it goes with 2 inhibs down, it's only 2 of those supers coming in at a time. Now it's 6. It is incredibly difficult to actually wave clear that. you know, unless you have like a full build Sivir or an Azir or something that has incredible wave clear, you just end up doing nothing but fighting minions. Like, you don't really get to actually contest your opponents. So really, TL just kind of has to walk it in, stand there, and just wait and slowly push those minions in, start to chip away at that final Nexus turret, and close out the game.
No reason to not step up without all the little blue dots that are, you know, those big dots, probably a lot scarier than most dots you see in your docks and stuff. They hold a little more power. They increase that stroke size for those ones, but you can see Team Liquid doing exactly that. They're just waiting for these waves to come through. Golden Guardians trying to clear as much as they possibly can, but you always get that every time you have all of the inhibitors down, that additional bonus. That's why you see the doubles of these supers, and it's so difficult to offset, but Golden Guardians, they'll have another chance to try and make their stand. Pyosik is the first one to try and initiate and gets a little bit of a slap onto Gory. Some swinging around, Huhi going for the ult onto Pyosik, but he's got a lot of health at his disposal to keep on pushing through with the rest of the team. Haeri focusing on to the turret, wants to maintain the objective focus, and while Licorice goes in to contest, the rest of them slap him down. It's a single kill in the favor of Team Liquid right now as they push the remainder of Golden Guardians into their fountain. They've got the supers doing the work for them on the Nexus. Team Liquid reversing their fate of week 1, a 2-0 for the weekend.
And nicely done, TL. Going to be able to clean this one up. Move to 2-2 here, taking down Golden Guardians. Going to be feeling good about the result, but I'm not sure how good they're going to be feeling about the way in which they got there, because they opened up, you know, such a massive lead early. It looked like this was going to be extremely one-sided, but definitely I think a lot of